A very good morning. Hope you had a fantastic day yesterday, and in today's market outlook we're kicking it off with EURUSD. So EURUSD moved further in towards the downside, did not respect these areas of demand yesterday, and with these areas of demand I mean specifically this one over here. As we can see, we broke the low of that area of demand and since then have just been crashing in towards the downside. We've now pulled in towards this area of demand over here, and I'm looking to see, are we going to see any reaction? For now it does not seem like anything is being provided. The only way that I can see that we're going to get potential longs is if we form a fractal low over here, break the fractal low, then break the fractal high and see a trend shift in towards the upside. That is kind of like the final long opportunity. Otherwise, I do expect this area of demand to fill and we will see this next zone of demand get hit on EURUSD. So that's euro dollar on the 4-hour time frame. Looking at the daily, it does look good indeed to now continue down in towards the downside. Potentially like a pullback in towards this area of supply which is now created, but for now, based on the daily, it also looks good for that further downside continuation. Now moving on in towards the dollar index, because the dollar index is obviously also going to sign what we're going to be seeing next. So looking at the dollar index, we've now pulled in towards this supply zone, which is an area of supply from where you would expect potential further downside. So that would go hand in hand with that potential long on the 4-hour time frame on euro dollar. Now looking at the 4-hour here on the dollar index, we saw that initial push down, so that's why I was looking for some downside continuation overall from the dollar index after pulling back in towards this area of supply over here. We saw that initial reaction, but that news pushed the price up higher. So what I'm looking for is at least a push pretty much in towards here, this buy before the sell. That's where I expect some potential further downside now to come through from, with this over here being your respected 4-hour swing high. So that's now what I'm looking for. We also have potential to push up even higher in towards this supply zone, but this is now our main focus. Moving on in towards Aussie dollar on the 4-hour time frame. So Aussie dollar did respect actually this fractal high over here. So fractal high respected, and from there we continued in towards the downside. So 4-hour fractal bearish from this high in towards this low, pulled back and then continued down lower. So obviously we're now looking for some further downside still. It depends, like if we respect this high, this is your fractal high which broke this fractal low, then we expect pretty much just downside continuation in towards this area of demand over here. If we break this fractal high, maybe this was just kind of like a liquidity grab and then we could reverse up even higher in towards over here. So that's it on Aussie dollar. Moving on in towards pound dollar, what are we seeing over there? So pound dollar, similar to Aussie dollar, respected the overall fractal high over here, did not break it, so pulled back in towards the extreme area of supply and then continued down lower once again in towards this area of demand. Personally, it is looking good to keep on falling. Going in towards the daily real quick, what can we see over there? Well, obviously the daily grab the liquidity which was lying above this entire range over here, so it could just feel a move even further in towards downside all the way to the bottom of this range over here. So that's what I'm looking to keep an eye on, with the overall daily still being bearish from this high in towards this low. Going in towards NZDUSD, I was actually in a long yesterday expecting overall continuation in towards the highs, but as we can see, the overall fractal high kept on respecting, being respected, hence why we continued in towards the downside. Now looking for some slowdown within this area of demand over here, this sub for the buy, but there is still some equal lows over here, so there is even more potential for NZDUSD to fall down through lower if we do not respect any area of demand and the fractal structure just remains bearish. You can just keep on selling in towards the downside because this overall corrective price action over here is just a box, so it would not be surprising if we do just continue down lower again to the bottom of that range. Now going in towards gold, our last pair, what can we see on gold? Well, gold was actually the most beautiful trade of yesterday, to be honest. We drew it out perfectly. You can watch back yesterday's stream as well. Here on the 4-hour time frame, obviously we pulled back in towards supply. So then you want to go in towards the lower time frame, look for that potential entry. I think we were looking at the 30-minute or the 1 hour. I think it was the 1 hour time frame indeed. I had the 50% body candle indicator drawn in, and as you can see, we pulled back beautifully in towards that 50% body candle, in towards that imbalance, and from there we continued down lower. So that was the overall trade here on gold. Now we're starting to just consolidate pretty much and move sideways, but this was kind of like the initial trade that you could have or should have taken. Now a potential skill in coming over here. So keep an eye out for another potential short on gold. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and wish you all a fantastic day. Thanks.